Hi everybody, this is Flamingbro, and this is my video tour of the Myrtle Beach Mall in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So this mall, it opened in 1986, originally as the Briarcliff Mall, and it's changed names a couple times. However, it adopted the Myrtle Beach Mall name in 2007. Nonetheless, we're going to take a look around and I will talk about the anchor stores. So the anchor that's directly in front of us in that shot is the second Belk store at this mall, which opened in 1994. The original Belk at this mall, which we are coming upon of, opened in 1986 as one of the mall's original three anchors. The second Belk store was built in 1994 as a result of the original store being landlocked. Probably one of the few rare occasions where a mall has two Belk stores, but it was not as a result of them acquiring another department store. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, like I previously mentioned, this is the original Belk store that opened with this mall in 1986, and it's the only original anchor left from the mall's opening. Alright, now going into depth about the mall's history, this mall was the second mall to open in the Myrtle Beach area after Myrtle Square Mall, which opened in 1975, and of course Myrtle Square was pretty much the prime shopping destination for the Myrtle Beach area until the mall closed in 2006. It pretty much lost the status of being the prime retail area following the opening of Coastal Grand Mall in 2004. But yeah, upon the growth of the Myrtle Beach area in the coming years, especially well into the 1980s, two more malls would eventually open in the area. This mall, of course, in 1986, and the other one is also the now gone Inlet Square Mall, which opened in 1990. But yeah, for the longest time of this mall's existence, this pretty much played second fiddle to both Myrtle Square and eventually Coastal Grand, but this mall seemed to thrive for quite a long time up until the early 2010s, where a lot of national retailers pulled out, and it's mostly local businesses now, but you'll probably, there really isn't a lot of, national retailers left. Pretty much just the two Belks, Books A Million, and the Bass Pro Shops, which we will get to later. But yeah, this is my first time at this mall. I went here in May of 2025 during a family vacation that I was on, and I will say this mall was pretty cool. It was a very fun experience, and I would gladly go again. I especially love the video game store in the arcade here, which in this video, there is a really cool tour of the arcade, which we will get to quite a bit later, but yeah, this was a pretty fun experience. It was a pretty awesome arcade here. Coming up on the right here is the Mall Cinema. It's a 12-screen AMC cinema that opened in 2006. It's been under the AMC moniker since 2017. There's a pretty cool arcade here right over there. But yeah, as I mentioned right there, you could see the arcade in the video game store in that shot, and the video game store used to be an American Eagle, and across from what was the American Eagle was a giant Victoria's Secret. Okay, and now we are approaching on the Bass Pro Shops anchor, which this is the only Bass Pro Shops in Myrtle Beach, which has pretty much helped this mall stay afloat, despite of how dead it is. And this space originally opened as a Kmart back with the mall in 1986, and it ended up closing in the round of closures in 2002. And this Bass Pro Shops has been here since 2004, and yeah, it's still doing pretty well. Bass Pro Shops over here. That's pretty cool. All right, coming up onto the left over here, that's an abandoned Bath and Body Works. It's been sitting closed for a couple years now. I think this actually closed before Bath and Body Works just pretty much decided to close a lot of their mall locations. Well, predominantly the ones at dead malls. But yeah, it's kind of I did get a look inside there, and it was pretty depressing. But yeah, you could definitely tell it was a Bath and Body Works. Okay, and now we're approaching on the mall skylights, especially this I really think that the skylights, especially this section here, is really pretty. And yeah, it was pretty fun seeing a glimpse of that. It really does give this place a really cool dead mall aesthetic. And speaking of which, here we go. We are coming into the arcade, and I will just let you see the view of it. This is so cool. Some of the store spaces, they're next to the arcade. They have a bunch of old cabinets in those empty spaces, and it was pretty depressing seeing those, but yeah, it's still pretty cool seeing some old cabinets. It was also pretty neat seeing a lot of recognizable storefronts in this mall, like for example, the former PacSun that's on the right there, and then also this Bags place over here used to be a KB Toys, and then the place next to that was a Foot Locker. So yeah, a lot of recognizable old store spaces in this mall, which a lot of them are pretty cool. Like there was an old Gadzooks I saw at this mall that was really cool, and yeah. All right, and now we're coming back upon the mall's food court. The food court has definitely seen some better days. There were still some eateries at this place, but not a lot. But it still has a really cool skylight there. And now we're approaching on the former JCPenney at this mall. This was also an original anchor to the mall. And as you can tell by the storefront, this was renovated sometime in the 2000s. And this JCPenney, it closed in 2020. And Overstock Furniture took over this space for a couple years, but it is now under the process of being demolished. They started demolition early this year, and it's set to become a Flavortown place, which will be opening. It'll be opening in the near future. But yeah, I will say, it is nice seeing a mall like this continue to be around. Even though it does really have the vibes of being stuck in the 90s, it is still pretty nice. This was still a pretty fun visit, like I mentioned earlier. All right. Well, that's going to be a conclusion of the mall tour as we are approaching the mall entrance by the old Ruby Tuesday that we passed earlier. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video tour and see you soon.